Hello, we're Nezaless. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we're giving you our thoughts on Lost Ruins of Arnak with the Expeditions expansion. We have just played this with the Expedition Leaders expansion, I should say, for the first time live on twitch.tv/Nerds of the West. You can come and join us when we make these videos over on Twitch.
And you get to be one of these lovely people in chat.
Heck yeah, chat.
I think chat's currently asleep, but you can be here.
No, Hawk Skull's here.
We, the people at the table, my name is Tom, we have a Beck,
Hey.
we have a Sean,
Hey.
and we have a Reese.
Hello.
We are going to give our thoughts on this game, ranging from all the way through of art to how the mechanics play, and basically decide, is this a game we would like to hit the table again? Because that is how we rank games here at Nerds of the West. Not is one game better than the other, just if given the opportunity, would we want to play this game again, and would we want to play it more than any other game? Any other game that is on our board, we are going to put that on our board. Reese, grab the board, put it in front of the table.
Yep.
Here you go.
Go, Reese, go. I've got it.
Yes, and Reese. Yes, and we put every game we play on
Been a while.
top of the board, and we rank it against every other game based on what we would prefer to play.
It's right there yet, because it's unranked.
It's unranked. So, thoughts on this game, starting where I always like to start, with the art.
Always.
I was like, what? Yep. No,
Just on that reaction.
I think the game's beautiful, right? There's a lot going on, but I think the game looks really good.
There's a lot going on, but it manages to keep it concise enough that you can keep track of it. Like, even though there is all these different symbols,
Ooh, I don't
it's
agree
not
with that.
the game.
I'm going to quickly jump in. It all makes sense, too. So, obviously, we are on an island, so we all land here, so this is where we start, so that makes sense. All of the boat symbols wind up in places that are wet when you're looking at the board, and all of the car symbols wind up in places where it is not wet. So that all makes sense. Shut up!
Albeit very mountainous, but yes.
Yeah.
There's parts for the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think I really enjoy the art. I think the art's such a strong, one of the best parts of the game, right?
Yeah.
I think the game is
Stop doing that.
No, I have
beautiful. The only thing is, for me, it's too much. There's too much to look at. There's a lot. It's a big board, but like you also have like you've got the locations here. You've got this here. Everything's super detailed, and it's a lot to look at. Which is why I don't agree with Tom's thing, where it's like, oh, it's easy to see. Everything makes it. I'm like, there's a lot. There's a lot. My brain cannot focus on this.
My brain loves it. My brain goes, all right, here's these bits, here's these bits. It's
Also,
nicely
you are
separated.
looking at it properly. I'm looking at it
You are
upside
looking
down.
at it upside down.
I've spent the last 4.5 hours looking at this upside down.
It is definitely a game that should be played with two people on each side of the table. It's just unfortunate that if we did that here, people would be seeing the back of Reese's head.
Which no one needs to see that.
I personally love the fact that in this research track, as you're kind of diving into the cave to find more, you're seeing all the tribal drawings of all the monsters that then come out later on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is just beautiful little bits of game
I
design.
didn't notice that.
How easily can you zoom in? Because we've got a pretty good example of it.
I also can't see that.
No, I actually have never paid attention to that.
I'm
Because
blind.
the other thing to note is that there's sometimes things on these,
Yeah.
so you don't see that.
Yeah.
But it's just that little touch. This could be just a blank cave wall, and instead we got Kevin here and we got Kevin here.
You were gonna...
So about that, it's a nice board to look at when there's not heaps of tokens on it, but I guess I slightly agree with Reese as well, is that it can be very overwhelming with symbols and colours, but I probably am leaning more on the side of I like the art. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think the art is one of its strongest assets, right? I think this is, if you like a game, and the art's thematic, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where I would say it makes sense, is it makes sense where like the art really suits the game and what it's trying to portray and explain. I don't think it makes sense in a mechanical sense, because I just can't make sense of it. Hieroglyphs, and
I think the hieroglyphs are good.
I'm not good with hieroglyph game.
It is a lot for someone who's not good with hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
But it's
also, once again, I'm reading everything upside down. You cannot play, I can't speak from Tom's end, but you cannot play from the top end. That's...
Yeah.
Everything
Good.
upside down.
Good to know.
My brain is fried from reading everything.
Production quality is kind of similar enough to art.
Oh, screen's gone. Oh, and
And she's back.
All right. Sorry.
What?
The monitor went dark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't see it. The production quality is fantastic. All the little tokens, all the little gems, they don't just use the same standard board game gem mold.
Yeah.
It is all custom for Arnak, and it
Yeah.
is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just want to nom.
No, don't eat them. That's why they're all
It is
gone.
plastic. I would love to get an upgrade kit for the cardboard section, but
Yeah.
that's me personally because, spoiler alert, I like this game.
Also, for the love of God, if they're gonna make it this big and this detailed, put recesses in the board so that when you've got this stuff in here, it sits in there and doesn't go
Yeah.
flying off to the sides. Also, if you're putting a card in, it sits in there and doesn't go in. Just another layer of cardboard on
Yeah.
top to make it one piece where
The
all
second-
of these
the
all of these
second
moving
edition.
parts don't go anywhere.
The second
because-
edition.
Yeah,
We-
second edition to make it a chunky board.
I will just say, we also have to keep in mind expansion. This is the expansion we're reviewing, not
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
base. Hi, Mitch. How you doing?
The-
Reese plays from my top end. I sure do.
The expansion doesn't do much in the way of art, but what it does do is change up the gameplay majorly. The art for the expansion's gorgeous, but it's just more of the same.
Yep.
The way that the different player starting decks, the way that the different player specific interactions just changes up everything about what you're going to do. I've never killed this many monsters in a game, and I love it.
Yeah. So are we?
yeah, Tom has
So we're
successfully-
moving over from art into
Yeah, mechanics. And
Mechanics.
talking about mechanics for either the base game, because I
Yeah.
love the mechanics in the base game.
Yeah.
The way you're like, all right, here's a little bit of this, a little bit of this, managing your resources. There's a
Yeah.
lot to do and a lot to keep track of, and that's very satisfying to me.
Yeah.
So
What?
I am
Yeah.
gonna step
Yeah,
in here because
Yeah.
I'm the next person. I love Lost Ruins of Arnak, favorite game of last year. I have played the base game so much that I don't know how much I've played the base game. I think at the moment the expansion does leave me a little bit lackluster, and I did say this during the stream, and I will say it now. We played this game wrong. 100% we played this game wrong.
Less we played it wrong, more we probably made the wrong decisions in who to play with.
We made the wrong decisions, and it's basically because the expansion expedition leaders are all tiered in terms of difficulty. I'm fairly sure we have the 3 hardest difficulty ones out at the moment, when there are 3 others before it that probably would have made this game a little bit simpler.
I appreciate that there are those options, though, for changing the game up that much.
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't hit with us, that doesn't mean they're necessarily bad. It's just like, if
I-
you're looking for a little bit more, it's there. If you're looking for a lot more, it is also there.
I feel this very much leans into the definition of an expansion. If you have played Lost Ruins of Arnak to death, then it's time to move into the expansion. I've played Lost Ruins once in a bit. Currently in the middle of a game now. The expansion's not for me. I'm not the they're not, some board game expansions you can pick up with the base game and play without playing the base or just playing the base a few times. I felt this is very much if you were really into it, get the expansion and then it refreshes the
I
game.
think
It hits for me on that reason.
I think the addition I'm going to make to that is you need to have unlocked the original game for the expansion to hit the way the expansion needs to hit. Because for me, I don't think I have unlocked the original game. I still play it and I don't win.
Yeah.
I still really like playing it when I don't win, but it's something that I know how to play. I
Well,
think
why do you like playing it, and what does the expansion not do into that?
I like the moments of just those Matrix seeing moments where you have all of these things you can do because you have the right combination of instance and you have the right combination of resources and things you can explore and research things you can move up, which give you different rewards. In this game, the one thing that I found was because of the character I'm playing, I got shoehorned into doing certain things because I had, 4 fear cards in my hand without enough ways to exile them. And so it meant that there was literally the 3rd round of the game, I did 2 things and I was like, that's it for me. And I had to sit out for the rest of the round.
You still managed to get quite a ways up the board.
Yeah, but in terms of points, that means nothing.
Yeah, didn't
Yeah.
quite get you there. I like that there's those different ways to play. I can see myself playing with the expansion a lot more.
I think I would like to play the expansion a different way if I'd started with one of the easier characters to start with. Because at the moment, I hate this, because I think the Mystic was too hard for me to start with.
Yeah, I mean, you did start with one of the hardest.
No, it is the
peoples.
hardest
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah. If I can chime in,
No.
so
Shut up.
So talking about mechanics, I really like the expansion. I think for me, playing, because I played the original once and I've played the expansion once, so not a whole heap of times, but from what I can see, the major difference between the two, I like being given a bit of a goal, and that's what your leaders do. I didn't play it amazingly well to begin with in this game, but I figured him out, and when I lent on his actions and sort of the way you're supposed to play it, I really enjoyed that because it gave me a way
You did it very well.
to work it
Yeah.
out. What I don't like about the first one is that the game, in terms of the mechanics, because it's a deck builder, set, resource management, collection, worker placement, so many different mechanics, and you got to balance them very well. And I guess some people really love that side of this game. I think it's too much. I think you're trying to do too much at once.
Yeah.
You're easy to get stuck, and like where you have those matrix moments because you're really thinking into what you got to do. While they're great on one hand, you get a very small amount of that in a game, and you get a lot of just trying to get to that point and not actually hitting a matrix moment. So jump in there, please.
I just want to add on to the too much thing. So that that was my major problem with the base game, was too much. The reason being for me is, as a player, it's overwhelming sitting there trying to figure out, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. But then every player's doing that, right? So
Is it a question of it's too much for your tastes in board games?
No.
Or is it because there's too much mechanics and they're not
no.
gelling?
So the reason is, right. So Sean's sitting there, thinking, what am I going to do? And he's got to sit there for 5 minutes, and then suddenly I've got 2 other players that also have to do that, because it's very hard to plan that far ahead in this because things can change that quickly. By the time it gets back to me, all the momentum I had's gone.
Yeah.
And I don't, especially for the majority part of there's not much of that comboing off and doing a lot of things. Because even then, I do a thing, I now have to wait for 3 other people to do before I then do the next thing, right? One time in the game, you may have that turn where you're like, oh, I can do this and get these back and do that and that and that. But otherwise, it's like, oh, I can make my way all the way up in a track, but that's going to take me half an hour, and I'm going to have to wait for everyone else to take their turn before I can take the next step.
Yeah.
And then everyone else takes their turn. Oh, I can make the next step.
See,
So to me, that minimalizes the reward for doing all of that stuff, and then also kills a lot of the momentum for me. So the game's not moving.
to me, it's the opposite. Having to plan out my turns, knowing that someone else might take that spot that I would love, having those backup plans, having ideas in place to be like, all right, I need 3 tablets within the next 4 turns to get up on that 5th turn when I'm then spending all my resources, is really satisfying. To me, this game is just enough different mechanics coming together to make it interesting and crunchy and have those matrix moments. To me, it's one longer matrix moment, not one big combo turn.
Yeah,
think-
it's just not satisfying.
I think
To me, it is.
Yeah,
I think what chat's saying is very correct. Like, the expansion makes it a lot more stalling compared to the first game and the first time we played this, in which there was more snowballing.
yeah,
Like, it may have just been some things added in, it may have been some mechanics, but it basically just meant that there was less being able to run away in a turn and being like, look at all these things I've done, and more just like, look at all this, oh, I've run out of things I can do with my character. All right, cool, I'm done.
and it's sort of like, because it's a longer game, right? So it's supposed to go for like, when you're not playing it on stream.
Half hour, 45 minutes per player.
Yeah, right. So essentially 2 hours.
Yeah.
For a 4-player game. A lot of that is downtime. A lot of that is just waiting. We've played 2-hour games where that's not the case.
Yeah.
And that's where it's just like, I would much rather play those games because I know I'm
100%.
spending most of that 2 hours sitting there thinking about the game, interacting with the game. You know, Terra Mystica, I feel like I have more interaction.
Terra Mystica feels super similar to me in the way that it works.
Terra Mystica has so much downtime, it is insane.
Maybe
To-
just
to me-
my games are Terra
Yeah.
Mystica.
Yeah,
It might also be you're playing Terra Mystica with people who are familiar with it, so it does
Yeah.
move quickly. To me, this is a game that when people know what's going on, it can move incredibly quickly.
Yeah, no, this hasn't done that for me. And it's like, you know,
Or could I potentially offer a counter where this is my Terra Mystica? I know how to plan a turn while other people are doing things, where in Terra Mystica, because you've probably played a lot more than I have, you could argue that you know how to plan your turn in Terra Mystica regardless of whether someone...
but we still had moments where you guys still had to sit there and be like, oh, what are we doing? You know, and I'm sitting there, I've already planned out my turn, you know? Like, to me, there is so much downtime in this that it kills the momentum for me.
Fair enough.
That is my opinion.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Well, if there's nothing else to say on mechanics and the way that the game kind of feels to play, where are we going to rank it on the board?
Let's have a
What
look.
do we got going on? Steve?
I feel like the only fair way to rank it would be to play a few games of Terra Mystica.
Yeah.
That's the 3 Terra Mystica to see who goes first.
So,
So this is our board for the year. We unfortunately haven't played as many games this year as we would like to. At the moment, Dune Imperium, which is a game people equate this to, is sitting on top. To me, I've said a lot of positive things about this game. I think the playtime sits really nicely. I think the way it feels crunchy in my brain makes it feel good. I'm putting this below Dune Imperium because I do still prefer Dune Imperium, especially with the expansion, but above Libertalia. Loved Libertalia. This feels better to me to play.
All right, go back. Where would you
Yeah, I was
reckon?
gonna say the problem is that I have played one game on the board.
That's all right. You can give it a rough out of 10 and put it on the board.
I know
in that position.
I've played Dune Imperium once, but it was one of those games where I haven't gone. I need to go back and play it again. And for me, Lost Ruins of Arnak always winds up being on top. I will, for the benefit of the doubt, though, probably put it underneath Dune Imperium. Just because, A, I did not gel with the expansion pack as much as I would have liked to, but that could also be with the amount of time it took for this game to play, that at the end of it, I'm like, I fucking hate this game, which isn't fair, because I played this game on Board Game Arena in half an hour.
yeah.
I'm curious to see where this game ranks at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Sean?
For me, yeah, so similar to Tom, I would put it under Dune Imperium. I'm just trying to would I pull out Libertalia or this? I think I would pull out Libertalia over this. So it would go just under Libertalia for me.
Yeah.
And above Last Message.
All right. I just want to reiterate, I did have fun, right?
You did have fun.
I did have fun.
Towards the end of the
There,
game,
there was a part where I had a smile on my face, and I'm like, ooh, fun, right?
Yeah.
you can find it.
Yeah, the moments that I was playing, I'm like, this is fun, you know? But then you watch the stream back, I caught myself, like, looking at my phone.
Yep.
You know, that's also a good sign that I'm not 100%
Just not gelling.
invested, you know? And then, yeah, it's also that thing of, like,
I will admit you aren't 100% on the rules as well. So when you got caught doing things you weren't able to do in the rules, that did take a lot of wind out of you.
I felt that was only once. And that didn't happen as much as what has happened in other games,
Yeah.
where I'm like, where everything's ruined. That was just like, oh, okay.
It
That
took
was like
the
at the
wind.
start of
It took
game.
the wind out of your sails a bit.
Yeah. But like, I just because it's also because I don't like I'm not a huge fan of the base game, so it's like I'm trying not to come in being like the expansion should be revolutionary and change everything, right? It's more of the same, right? So if you loved it, I'm sure you.
Yeah.
Other than Beck, I'm sure you'll. But like,
It
alright.
hit for me.
So with that out of the way, I have played Dune Imperium. I have also played Reload, and I'm never playing Reload again. I may give it a go one more time, but like that's it. I've got to put it above Reload.
Yep.
Okay.
Rough out
So
of 10 then?
Gonna go here.
Yeah, like a 5,
Yeah, okay.
maybe a 6. I had fun. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
This is a solid 9 out of 10 for me.
I think that lives here.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we all put it up here. Like
So-
I think it personally goes above Lost Message.
I think it's gonna make
Because
it above
we all
Last
put it-
Message.
Yeah.
quite high, but it'll be re-ranked at the end of the year. We're going to give all our thoughts on all the games we played. Somehow maybe include all the Magic decks in some kind of discussion for the favorites that we play.
Magic the Gathering, 10 out of 10. Put it in the chat.
So we do a whole lot of stuff here. You can come and hang out with us live on Twitch, or if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We appreciate the heck out of you. We are going to be doing a whole lot more board game stuff, so hang around, and we will say goodbye and catch you nextest of times.
Goodbye.